You there, boss?
Yeah, mate. Tim, mate.
Good, mate. Sound a bit sniffly. Is that right?
Not sniffly, just a little bit down. Which
okay.
I'll be able to talk about that with a certain player that's going to get my negative 3, and I'm not holding back, so not happy.
All right.
So I won't reveal any of that, but good to be back as always, Tim, mate. Hope the weekend was good for you. Obviously, we'll get into all the footy stuff, but how's the weekend?
Let's get the boys on, hey? Let's not talk. Let's save it. Save the content, mate. Save the content.
I'll send them a request. Hopefully when they jump on,
sure.
they'll come on. But how was the weekend outside of fantasy footy, mate? There you go. We'll do that one.
A bit wet and rainy this weekend over here in Perth. So I thought about playing golf today, but no, I thought, bugger it, I'm going to stay home, do a bit of shit around the house and watch lots of footy. So, that was me.
Yep, perfect. I was at watch UFC today, and then footy was on sort of in the background as well. So I got to watch a couple of sports, which I won't complain about, that's for sure. So I think James Shuckas is on with us, mate. Are you with us?
Yeah, you got me, Bals?
Mate, how are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, I've been a bit off the grid lately.
Bit busy.
Yeah, which is good. But good to be back. How are you boys going?
Yeah, good, mate.
Sway?
I'm just going to try and message JJ and see how he's going. I don't think he's done a space.
Oh, here we go. No, it just I think he's just hopped on.
Hear me?
So, Jesse, you got us? Yep, got you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate.
Good.
Awesome. All right, we got everyone.
Well, let's get stuck into it. So the usual 3 seconds of dead air space, and we'll get stuck into it, Tim.
All right. Hang on one sec. Let me just get a couple of things sorted here. Dismiss. Cool. And hang on, I better just check one more thing. All right, yeah, cool. I'm good to go.
Sweet. All right, let's get it started.
Hello and welcome everyone to the AFL Fantasy Fanatics round review. We are recording on Sunday, the 7th of May, after the completion of round 8 of the AFL season. I am your host and AFL Fantasy Fanatic, Tim Guest. Well, it was another week where some popular players went big. To help us talk through the round is Bales DT. Bales, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, mate. It's a good round. Got one sort of person in my sights, which I'm sure we'll get into in a sec. But overall, it's a huge scoring round for a lot of coaches, so I'm sure we've got plenty to get through.
Let's get stuck straight into it, mate. Well, how did you score? Yep. Where are you ranked, and who is your +3, -3?
So 23.70, so big week, and we had plenty of huge scores. So up to 6,654 overall. So again, another 2,100 spots are moved up. So pretty happy, moving in the right direction. I think every week for the past month, which has been good. So closing in, got a win in the Content Creators Cup as well, which was nice. Get the second win there. So it was good beating Holmes. Holmes had got a lot of unlucky things, unfortunately, for him this weekend. But just glad for me to get on the board. But in +3, -3. All right, so +3 for me. I have to give it to Tom Green. So I held him through his week suspension, which a lot of people did. And I'm not just giving it to him for this one. I'm also giving it to him last week. So I gave my thing, I think, +3 to Marshall last week. But Tom Green, 136 last week, 170 this week with a 64-point quarter, I think, if you don't mind. So he's averaging 120, the highest averaging midfielder. He's an absolute beast. So very, very happy to own him. And yeah, but also quick shout out as well to my little pod there, Lockie Whitfield, defenders against the Dogs, as Jake from Hatchet always says, always go well. And yeah, 130 points. Very happy with that. -3. So this may take a minute or two. So apologies for this, but I'm giving it to premium midfielders. So I'll run you through my premium midfielders this year. So I started Rory Laird, 57 in round 1. Really bad for his cash gen and a rocky start to the year. Josh Kelly, injured round 1, had to trade him. Go to Tom Green in round 2, who gets a 90 in his first game, his worst score for the year. I then proceed to also starting Bont, who was underwhelming to start. I then go and bring in Toot Miller and pay up for him for the buy. He gets injured on 48. and yep, just annoying. And then I move into my guy that ruined my week this week in Jack Steele. I brought him in this week for 81 points. North Melbourne, good matchup. Was resting forward at times. I just didn't understand what that was. If it wasn't for his third quarter, he would have scored a 50. So yeah, so pre-midfielders, not holding anything back from any of you. You all can cop it. So yeah, not happy, Tim.
Mate, well, I'm sorry to hear it. Clearly having a rant this week, but I'm loving
I've
the
got
energy, mate.
got out of my system, so now it's all positivity because we've got plenty of good things to get to. We've got a couple of good guests on as well, Tim.
Mate, yeah, we got some great guests this week. So first I'm going to introduce James from Shuckas Fantasy. James has been on the pod before. I think he was actually on one of our early pods, actually, second pod or something along those lines. So it's really great to have him back. James, mate, welcome back. And, mate, how did you go this week? How are you ranked? And who's your +3, -3?
Thanks, Tim. This week is probably my best week for the year, 23.69. So just one below Bales, pipped me. But still not too bad at all. Probably have to give the +3 to Andy Brayshaw. I brought him in a few weeks ago and hasn't really delivered, but popped this week, which was good. -3, I'd have to probably say Trent Rivers, which is massive pod. I think I've had him for about a month now, and he just hasn't really done what I was hoping him to do. So he'll probably be looking on the chopping block in -3.
All right, mate. All right. Well, good week for you, but shame to hear. It's always sucks when one of your pods doesn't quite nail it.
Ranking?
But
ranking? Yeah,
mate. Yeah. Where are you ranked?
So right now I'm 9,531. So just snuck into the top 10K for the first time in the year, which is good. I came from a fair way back at the start. Just goes to prove how bloody hard this game is. Like, I feel like I haven't done too much wrong, but I've been a bit unlucky, made a couple bad trades, and you just get punished. So I think it's probably proven that, it's getting more and more competitive up the top end as each year goes on. So anyone who's doing up the top, I think you're having a stellar year.
I think it also talks about, there's elements of luck as well. We've got some great coaches out there with great track records with, pretty poor ranks. And it's, it's not because they're not good coaches. It's just because, players they've picked have gone down or,
absolutely,
injuries, suspensions, all that kind of stuff. So, some years it just works out to be your year and other years it doesn't. But
yeah, that's right.
But look, but you don't want to lose sight of it. I think we've talked about it in before in the past as well, as that, you just kind of keep your head down and keep making the right trades, you can still find your way in the top, in the top couple of thousand and find yourself a pretty respectable finish in the end.
Yeah, fingers crossed. See how we go.
Well, we're talking all that, but we're kind of going to go to the other end of the spectrum right now. We're going to go to the number one ranked coach so far this year. So Jesse was ranked number one last week. I caught up with him at the Varsity Bar on Friday night. And we had a bit of a chat there, and he's held on to number one position. So I'm looking at the moment, Jesse, you're on a total of 17,844 points, which is 22 points ahead of ASAP Green by the look of it, mate. So congratulations on being in first. How are you, mate?
Thanks, mate. Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on the show. Good to stay in rank one, but, I've got a few good teams. Look like they're right on my tail. A few 2,500 scores I can see, which is pretty big this week. So, yeah. But I'm stoked to be in first. I've never been this high before, and it's really good.
Yeah. Well, look, third of the way through the season, still a long way to go, so anything can happen. But look, it'd be great to get your input. I know we talked about some other stuff. You get into a fair bit of fantasy stuff, do a fair bit of analysis each week. So it'd be great to hear what you got to say about the players we talk about this week. But mate, run us through, mate. Obviously, you ranked one, so we don't need to know that. But how'd you score this week? +3, -3.
2,454 for me, which is pretty good. My +3 will probably go to Goulden. I think a 161 from him. I've been waiting for a ceiling game from him ever since he pumped out a 170 odd in the preseason and showed that he's capable of that kind of score. My -3 probably goes to centre field. He looks like he's out of the CBA mix now with the Bombers. I think he spent most of today on the wing. That's definitely going to like impact his scoring potential. So he's probably one that I think, if you haven't got rid of him already, I think a lot of people are going to be looking to get rid of him.
Yeah, certainly on my watch list. He's on my team at the moment. In my team, and I was watching that role. He's definitely on that wing. So, it could be a bit up and down with his scoring. But we'll move back around to me. So I'm going to start with my -3 before I tell you my score or my rank. -3 goes to Josh Rochelle. Jesus bloody Christ, a 27 on my field. How can you believe that? So, that I guess indicates a bit of a disappointing weekend for me with a 24-31. What's that, 20 points behind our number one ranked coach. So I'm pretty happy with my week, actually, with Rochelle on the field. So although I still don't know what the hell happened with him. But probably, like I said, 24-31. I've moved back inside the top 1,000, 962. And I would say my +3, I think I'll give it to Jack Zeeble, finishing out the round there with a 168. One of many players, a few players that went 160 plus for me. So I had Tom Green, Josh Dunkley, Errol Goulden, and Jack Zeeble. So they were nice players to have in my team. So I'm pretty up and about, feeling pretty happy with myself right now. So we can get stuck into the games.
I was going to say it's pretty funny that the top score for the year before this, was a Noah Anderson, I think 162 or whatever he got, and there was probably 4 players that went over that this week, which is ridiculous. So there was some big.
But I guess it was a little bit different this week, where it was probably a few more unique players probably went big, whereas still some big scores, but just not those big popular ones like it was last week, all those rooks anyway.
Yeah.
But look, let's get stuck into the games.
Sweet.
What people are here for. So Carlton versus Brisbane at Marvel. So the Blues continued their high-scoring fantasy run with their mids and even their relevant rookies scoring pretty well. On the flip side, Brizzy Rooks were a bit quiet. Well, it was all about Josh Dunkley and his 172 high score of the year. Some people may have seen the tweet that I put out there that the number 4th ranked coach actually had the C on him. He has officially declared it wasn't a mistake. Apparently, it's because he's got balls the size of mangoes. But I'll leave it to you to decide whether it was a mistake or not. But take us through the round, mate.
Yeah, well, Dunkley, I'm actually half glad no one gave him the +3 because it sort of makes up for all those games that he went sub in the thing. So this puts him probably back on track to where we thought he'd be at the start of the year. He was obviously fantastic. Adam Cherry continued his great form. I know Dossie had the VC on him and brought him in last week, so he's very happy with that. So 130, probably too expensive to look at really close is an option, but kudos to the people that brought him in. The first player I want to talk about, James, though, is Sam Doherty. So 129, looks to be playing a lot more in that midfield. Still did go back later in the game. Had a break into 130, so he's not going to go down much. Is he a target that people should be looking at, especially with that Dogs matchup coming up this week?
I think so. He's probably still going to be, in the top handful of defenders, even when, more DPs come out in the next few weeks and whatnot. So depending on where his price actually finishes up, if you have the right person to go up to, maybe you've got someone around that 700K who's not performing and you could bump him up to them, then that could be an option. But it's probably a bit team dependent. He's still definitely going to be in the top.
Round 15 bye could be a bit of a stickler for a lot of coaches because a lot of popular players are on that bye. Sam Walsh, 109, just ticked over and got the job done once again. George Hewitt, keep an eye on him with a 90, bit of a cheap option if you wanted to potentially go there. I'm still a little bit concerned of his ceiling. I'm not sure if he's the guy. So, Jesse, Ollie Hollands, another 86. Do you own Hollands at all, mate?
Yeah, I still have Hollands. I'm obviously glad I held him now after the 86. He's, going to go up a bit more in value. So, that's pretty important at this stage of the year. So, yeah, I guess we'll probably hold him for another couple of weeks and just keep riding his price. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. You just answered my question. I was just going to throw it at you. So I was just about to say we're going to hold him. See, I think he is a hold as well with that low break. I think he's going to be about 500k. So, yeah, he's been good. So, yeah, he'll be definitely one coach to be keen to hold on for at least another week. Nick Newman, 76, but he did cop a week suspension as well. I can't exactly remember what it was for. I think it might have been a tackle or something. I think I don't know if any of you guys know that, but I know that he did cop a week. And then Alex Chincotta as well. Tim, I know you jumped on the bread this week and 75, and you'd be pretty happy you got him because he looks like if you didn't jump on him, he's the must-have cash cow at the moment.
Yeah, actually, the big question for me was why the hell they didn't start him. I mean, we always thought he was a little bit further ahead than Cowan, and he's certainly looking better out on the field than Cowan's been looking. So, look, I think he's a cash cow that pretty much if people didn't jump on after his first round, I think people would have jumped on last week. So, if you haven't got him, get on. But I'm thinking everyone's on one now.
And with Nick Newman suspended, and also the fact that Cowan apparently, according to Jackson, who's a Collingwood supporter Carlton supporter in our group chat, he said that apparently Cowan didn't play very well. So maybe he's not in the team and Chincotta will hold his spot. So he's looking obviously fantastic. Lockie Neal, if you've got him, I'd be trading him. He's literally been a yo-yo for the last 6 weeks, so disappointing. But last thing I'll throw, the last player before we move to the next one is Will Ashcroft. So 61. He is over 600k. He's going to be about 630-ish k. Anyone can sort of chime in here. Is anyone considering maybe moving him, especially with that round 12 bye, or are we still looking at maybe moving out other players? What are our thoughts?
Yeah,
Jesse, let's ask Jesse, the number one ranked coach, mate. Are you looking at moving out Ashcroft?
I'm considering it. But what I will say is, I don't know if this is 100% or not, but from the games that I've seen of him, he seems to be scoring a lot better at home. He does have 2 home games coming up. So, yeah, I think I've got it here. He's averaging 93 at the Gabba. So, yeah, he's one that, I don't know, if you do want to hold him, you'll probably take a little bit more confidence with the fact that he's got 2 games coming up at the Gabba, if that's something that you want to read into. I know it's only 4 games of data, but, you know, at least it's something. But again, there's a few guys that we are looking to get rid of. He's one of them. Setterfield's another. Yeah, there are a few options in that kind of range.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Tim, I reckon we'll move on to the Saturday games. First one starting with your Eagles.
Yeah, so Richmond versus West Coast at the MCG. So many people had the VC on Taranto. I mean, probably one of the things from this game I noticed is those Richmond halfbacks all had a go, which makes it a little bit harder to know who's kind of got that role out of, you know, Short, Rioli and Baker. Pepper and Jones, probably, if you had them on field, might have hurt coaches. And, yeah, Bales as the Adelaide sorry, I'm talking – hang on, I jumped across to the next team. Oh, my God. Excuse, boys. I was going to go to Dom Sheed with his big 111 on return. So let's get into this game.
Perfect. Yeah, he was very good on return. I still don't think he's an option to be looking at, but it was good to see him actually put up a big ton. He's still a friend of the show, so good to see Dom back and that he's back from injury.
He's back as a friend of the show. He was kind of off the list there for a little while, but with the 111, he can be back on the list. Yeah.
Taranto 117. I know, Tim, you took on the captaincy. I was in the boat. I was never not taking that score of 117, but I guess what was it? Like what the brave coaches went that and they got rewarded. So yeah, but 117, great score for Taranto, keeps the ton run alive. Jermaine Jones been pretty solid, done the 102 there for the Eagles. So there you go. Liam Baker responded with a 94 after a couple of poor ones. I'm still a bit concerned with his role moving forward. Tim Kelly 96 as well. But, Jesse, I just want to quickly throw back to Jaden Short. So I didn't actually watch this game. So if anyone can chime in before we talk about Short. But I don't know if he's in that defence role. But is he a potential option we could look at bringing in maybe early as he'll get defender status?
Yeah, maybe if he gets defender status, like you could bring him in early and then move him back. He definitely looks like he's, you know, probably going to be a top 6 defender. So he's probably definitely one to consider. Yeah. He's just getting so much like junk ball, you know, so many +6s down there. And like you said with Baker's role, he seems to be moving all over the ground a bit. He's just so versatile, Baker. He kind of goes wherever they need him. So yeah, like Short kind of.
And you got Rioli as well.
Yeah, Rioli as well. So yeah, no, he's definitely one I'm considering.
Yeah, definitely got to be on our watch list. Rioli, 88, so he's just sort of getting these 80 scores. So with Short back there, he's probably potential trade-out candidate for some coaches if they want to move on him a bit earlier. Jake's boy from Hat Chat, Samson Ryan with a 69, continues to tick over those good scores, so good cash gen for those coaches there. Ruben Jinby, James, is he someone that he played 64% game time, scored a 60, still has a role. Is he, with the buyers approaching, is he still one that you want to be holding on to? Are you still happy to be moving him on, regardless of he's got that role and he's in the best 22?
Yeah, I think I'd be comfortable moving him on. I know I moved him on a week or two ago. I think not this week, last week. Purely because he's, just about at the highest point of his cash. If he's not going to decline already this week, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'd be comfortable moving him on and trying to get a, underpriced premium in that spot or a top sixer.
Yeah, I think I agree as well. I know Tim's been like that for a few weeks now as well. Also, just missed as well. Jaden Hunt had a good game as well. Just continues to be such a good mid-price for those that jumped on with another 82. And then at the bottom here, we have got, now his name's disappeared. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, unfortunate for Jai Cully. Looks like it's, I don't know if it's confirmed.
ACL.
It is confirmed, yeah. So sucks for him, which is disappointing. And then shout out to Noah Cumberland as well, who managed to score a -2 as well. So there you go. So we'll move on to the other game. This will be the Crows, Tim.
That's right, mate. And I've got some good big questions for you. So Geelong and Adelaide at GMHBA. Oh, now I'm screwing that up. Jesus, having a good night. So Dawson keeps loving his role, but we all seem to have him, so it doesn't really make too much difference.
I don't have him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, don't really?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, pretty highly owned, but not all coaches there, so that would have hurt you boys. But and then,
well, I'm not high ranked.
Who knows, right? We'll see what happens. But Pedler and Jones also would have hurt coaches if you had them on. So I'm talking Chase Jones, and obviously we know who Pedler is. But yeah, big question, Rochelle. What the hell was going on? I don't even know how it's possible to score a 27.
I'll give you 3 words the reason that he scored so low. Geelong and Geelong. It seems to happen to some of these players that they go to Geelong and they just can struggle to score. Geelong obviously a very, very good team, especially at home. So I put that down to an anomaly there. He only had the 8 disposals, didn't get involved in any of those because he gets involved for a lot of those +6 in the middle of the ground. So I wouldn't be trading him out. I'd still be backing him in for another week at least. He's got, I think, round 14 is a pretty good buy for a lot of coaches because there's not as many players, especially prems on that buy that coaches have got. So I'd be holding, but yeah, he still looked to have the role, spent time forward, but yeah, it's just I'd still be holding with him. Same with Pedro as well. He got a 45, tough matchup, but considering that was his lowest score for the year, that's probably a good sign. So he's a guy that could still maybe stay in people's sides for another week or two. And same again, Chase Jones. You obviously mentioned before as well, a poor score, but Geelong and Geelong, as I mentioned, is a tough matchup. But I'll go back to the top, and I still don't understand. So they didn't tag Dawson, and they tagged Rory Laird with Tom Atkins. So it was good to see Laird still score a 107, back to his tackling best with 14. But I still don't get taking my Laird, Dawson, Crows bias out of it. Dawson's clearly probably one of the most 5 damaging players in the AFL, or top 10 at least. And teams just don't seem to want to put attention into him. A bit like Dacos. So it's like they put Laird, attention to Laird. So interesting. But Dawson continues. Could have got him over still, but yeah, that's why I'm not ranked high. Bad decisions. Laird, great, as I mentioned. Tom Stewart didn't get that keys tag, or not as much of it anyway. So he still got to a respectable 88, I think. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So apologies, couldn't go into the coaches there. I thought I'd quickly jump through that game and get that. So we'll keep moving, I think, to the Gold Coast and Melbourne game.
Yeah, Gold Coast, Melbourne at Heritage Bank Stadium. So after some of our on-field rooks turned up last week, this week we were reminded why to get them off field. So talking specifically about Chandler and JVR, for those still haven't. Of course, he's now rubbed out for 2 weeks, if you haven't heard. Noah Anderson had a slow start, but really stepped up as a popular trading target last week. And, the Pastor and the Rat King, mate, they did pretty well. And I think they're going to be on some targets this week.
Yes, they will definitely be. And Noah Anderson, for me, I think he's the best player on the ground, to be honest. He was really good and nearly got Gold Coast over the line. So if you did jump on him, he's got the great buy. He's been fantastic. But Jesse, I want to go straight to a guy that I'm actually interested in. I think a few coaches could be interested after another 105, and that's Will Powell. Is there any interest from you with that really good round 13 buy and a guy that's making good cash in a good role?
Yeah, a little bit. I watched him in that game, and I think he was on 50 in the first quarter, and he just looked like he was playing the loose man down there. He's taking kick-ins. He looked really good, and Gold Coast seemed to be possessing the ball a bit more. But a reason I might not bring him in is because I brought in Fiorini and Atkins last week, and I've also got Stewart back down there already, so I don't really need another round 13 back there. But he definitely looks good. I will say that.
Yeah. So I guess if you didn't bring one or both of Fiorini and Atkins, then Will Powell could be an option. It's probably safer, to be fair, but definitely one to consider. But I will go to Fiorini and Atkins next, James. So Fiorini 89 and then Atkins an 86. I will say a bit of a flag for both, though, before I ask you what your thoughts were on them, James, that Fiorini only had the 6 CBAs, didn't attend a CBA in the second half, and he was a bit in the midfield in the first half, which was great, but second half still scored well. And then Atkins apparently had 8 turnovers from his 22 disposals. So in saying that, what are your thoughts on both those guys, James?
I'm probably not as hot on both of them as a lot of the community is, purely because we've seen Gold Coast play 2 different types of styles, and in the last couple of weeks they're starting to chip around a little bit more, which is maybe inflating scores throughout the entire list. So I'm not 100% sure which way they're going to go, but it would come more down to how the team plays if I'm wanting to pick them rather than the individual roles. I know that's important as well, and you see Fiorini with 6 CBAs, that's not great. But he's still so cheaply priced, and same with Atkins as well, that it, almost doesn't matter as long as they're point scoring above their price enough. So
yeah,
the matchup this week against the Eagles over in the West, big ground, you'd think there'd be a few more +6s on that round. So maybe if you're going to do it, this is the week you have to do it to get reward. So I'm not going to do it probably. I'll do Atkins out of either of them, but I probably won't do it.
See, I'm actually thinking potentially Atkins does maybe get dropped. I don't know. We'll have to see. I know Farah's in the VFL. Apparently he had a good game today, and I think there's another 1 or 2 names there that I thought, well, they could sneak in, like a Mac Andrew or something if they want to go a bit taller. Ballard's out, so maybe he comes in. But
hey, Bales, what about? I wouldn't mind asking Jesse as well. Jesse, obviously, you brought both of them in this week, right? So I imagine you probably will.
Someone that I would pick, but this week I was just kind of a little bit hamstrung just with the amount of money I had. I couldn't really downgrade someone to a rookie and get someone up to someone that I wanted. So he's kind of just like a stepping stone guy for me. And because he's just priced at like 65, I think even out on that wing roll, I think if Gold Coast keep playing this possession kind of style game, he's still going to score at the K because he's just going to get those 4 to 5 marks or more a game, which is going to get him to score probably 80 or more. And Atkins, I'm a little bit worried that he's going to get dropped as well, just based on what I've been reading on Twitter from people talking about his turnovers and stuff like that. But I mean, Gold Coast, they almost beat Melbourne as well, so. He did turn over the ball a few times, but I don't know. I'm hoping he doesn't get dropped. I don't think he'll get dropped. I hope he gets at least 1 more week for cash generation anyway. And yeah, I think he was okay. He had 5 kick-ins, I think. So for fantasy, that's pretty good. But yeah, he does need to clean up his ball use a bit if he wants to stay in the team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the fact that kick-ins are there as well, that's obviously a good sign. And it could have been maybe some of the kick-ins were turnovers. I'm not exactly sure that maybe a Melbourne guy intercepted it and that's counted as a turnover. So maybe that's could have played into it there. Max Gawn potentially as an option. He's dropped in price. He's going to be under 750K. And we'll talk about Marshall a bit later because I'd like to get people's thoughts when we talk about that. But I don't know if he'll be missing time or not because he sat out the last portion of that game. So Gawn potentially an option for those English owners. So Definitely got to keep him there. Oliver as well, 104, just getting the job done again. McPherson State, I'd be very happy with his pod that continues to impress week in, week out. Petrarca, a bit of a quieter game there with an 80. Brayshaw, 73, a little bit quiet as well. And then Cozzy Pickett also with a 62. So a little bit quiet on his end as well. And we spoke about Van Rooyen. Then Chandler as well, Paul 1. Coaches could look to move him off. It's probably time for him to go. So we'll move on to the Saturday night games, Tim.
You might. Well, we'll start with GWS versus Western Bulldogs at Manuka Oval. Some monster scores in this game. I wonder if some of our mates over at Hat Chat, we know where DC's a Canberra boy, managed to get across to that game. So shout out to them. But Green, we've already talked about in the +3, -3s. English, I mean, look, he could have got my +3, to be perfectly honest. I did. I ran the gauntlet and put the C on him and left Taranto's VC behind. And then Bont, another one went big, even Jay Hansen. You'd say he scored pretty well. But then, of course, Bailey Smith was back in the triple figures.
Yes, exactly right. We'll talk about him in a sec, but he's definitely an option coaches can consider. We mentioned Tom Green, not much more to mention with him. It was just an amazing stat line, 38 touches, 6 marks, 9 tackles, 3 goals, 1. Complete performance, amazing. Tim English, for those non-owners, if Marshall is out, could be the ticket to getting English, so you have to wait and see with that one. My boy Whitfield, 130. I'm not sure that he's an option still for coaches because dogs for defenders, they always score well. So and I'm still concerned with so many mouths to feed back there. But I want to go the Bont first. Does anyone? I'll first of all go to someone that doesn't own Bont. So Tim, I know you got Bont, but James or Jesse, do you guys? One of you guys have Bont or
No.
Yeah, I do.
So Jesse, I'll go to you as a non-owner. Is he a guy you're looking at? He's got the role. He's been pretty good the last few weeks. He's been solid 90 plus and a few ceiling scores. Is he a guy you've got on your radar?
Yeah, he is, but he's got that. He got the Bulldogs got the round 15 bye, do they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So that just makes it tricky for me because I've just got like quite a lot of round 15 players already. And at this stage, like I think you do need to be looking at your buy structure a bit. We're not that far away from the buys. I'm not 100% sure what he's priced at, but he has been scoring like pretty well in the last few weeks. So I imagine that he's priced at a
909.
Yeah, 909.
909. He'll go up about maybe to 920, 925, somewhere around there.
Yeah, to be fair, I'd probably be preferring a Brayshaw, I think. Probably a little bit cheaper, and I think he's someone that I'd definitely like the look of him. I'm sure we'll get to that game later.
Yes, exactly right. But yeah, Bont continues and he's just amazing. Such a good player there. Nick Haynes enjoyed the Dogs match as well, 116. Josh Kelly, 109, had a pretty good last quarter to get to that as well. So good for those owners there. Bailey Smith. So Tim, I'll go to you for this one, mate. Round 15 bye obviously is a bit difficult for coaches, but for coaches that maybe need players on round 15s, might not be much out there, but if there is a few coaches that need it, is Bailey Smith an option that's probably almost bottomed out in price?
I definitely. I mean, look, obviously he's got that forward eligibility, and you'd think he'd be pretty unique as well. So he's definitely someone that coaches can have on their watch list.
Injury to Treloar as well, unfortunately, another hamstring. So that could also be, and again, I'm not trying to put salt in the wound for Treloar, but it is good for a guy like potentially Bailey Smith with more CBAs. Jack McRae as well could be good for him, but he's just been a 90s guy this year. So just another 90s, dropped a fair bit of cash as well. But Tim, actually, I will follow back up to you for another player because I know you own this player. But Jason Johannisen, mate, 92, you'd be pretty happy with his performances so far.
Yeah, mate. I mean, I think I've had him for about 3 rounds or so, and he's probably averaged 85 or, something along those lines. So, I mean, he's certainly filled a gap back there, and I don't see him moving right now. He's got that role. He's got that halfback role for the Western Bulldogs, and, I mean, I think this is probably what we can expect him to score around that 85 mark. So I'm happy to leave him sitting there until probably after the buys.
Is it too late for non-owners, you reckon?
85. Hang on. I just got to figure out in my head what he's priced at. 575.
He'll be about 615k, maybe 610, somewhere around there.
about 60, passed at about 65. So, yeah, he's probably still got about 20 points upside there. So, you probably
round 15 bye, maybe that
yeah,
could
that's
be
the only
something.
thing you got to watch. Yeah, depending on how your team's weighted in terms of the buys. But
I guess he could be that good player that if you've got primos, he could be that guy you offload at round 15 to a guy coming off their bye. Maybe that could be something that coaches look at. So
I think the other thing is that right now, I mean, we heard Jesse before talking about how hamstring he was last week with cash. Like, we are at a stage where people are pretty stuck with cash, and you might not have much to stick on top of a rookie. So, being that he's probably priced under $600,000, along with a Fiorini, I imagine, for coaches that don't have him, they should be high on the watch list.
Yeah, exactly right. Cogs, bit of quite a game there, only an 81, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He's been pretty good this year, so I wouldn't be worrying if you've got him. Perryman, I would be a bit concerned with if you did jump on and you were looking. Another only 67% game time. That seems to be, he just has that low game time. He's always a bit like a Will Brodie, just low game time and comes on to have an impact. So I probably wouldn't be going there now. Finn Callan, 70 for those coaches, still rolling with him, still making a little bit of cash there as well. And then Arthur Jones, just keep on your watch list if there's no other rookies. I'm sure there's one from North that we'll talk about in a set when we get to that game. But he will play.
Hoping bring in Angwin, hey?
Well, I was going to say, I didn't actually see what happened. Apparently, he got injured. So did anyone see exactly what happened with him?
I think it was. I'm not 100% sure, but because I was watching mainly the other game, but I think it was a late injury. It's maybe in the last quarter, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, because I saw him on the bench.
He made it to the last quarter. No, he played out the game.
Did he? 73% for 24 points. So
sorry, no, that's not true. He got an adjustment after I thought the adjustment might have been a stat, but he had a stat at the 14-minute mark. So
that would have been his
24
last
points. Yeah, 24 points for 3.5 quarters of footy.
There's a decent chance that maybe we even get a Josh Fahey this week if he comes in for an Angwin on that wing, because he's been playing wing in the VFL. So one to keep an eye on for coaches. So Tim, we'll move to the other game that was in the West.
Yeah, so Freo versus Hawks at Optus. So it looks like Brayshaw is back, but might be curious to see what kind of impact that has on Sarong. And then shout out to the Ball Boys. I know their their favourite player is Hayden Young, who for the second week in a row went a ton. And then, of course, we can probably talk about the slightly disappointing performances from Darcy, although he was under a bit of an injury cloud. And then Day was a bit quiet as well.
Yes, Day was a little bit quiet. I didn't watch this game, so I'm very interested to get the boys' thoughts on this one. So, James, did you watch this game or the other one, or neither?
I saw about a quarter of this one, and that's all I got to see.
Oh,
but
no worries.
From what I saw, Brayshaw was everywhere.
Yeah. Well, you're a Brayshaw. Well, you said you've been a Brayshaw owner. So I'll go to you first, and I know that Jesse said he's potentially looking at Brayshaw. So James, how did you see Brayshaw? Will you be pretty happy with his 157?
Yeah, I mean, he was injured for the first few weeks of the year, but now he's all clear. And I think in his a week before, he had a 113 as well. He just looks like to be the Brayshaw of last year. It wouldn't surprise me if he's now, in the top 3 or 4 midfielders for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
I think, perfect timing.
And then Jesse, I'll go to you, mate, as a guy that's looking at him as an option. So he's got that round 12 bye. With that huge story, he's going to rise in price. So is it almost at a point where you might not be able to wait till his bye because he's going to maybe get back out of hand for coaches?
Yeah, a little bit. He just looks so good on the weekend. Like, he really looks back to his best. Just like
86% time on ground as well.
Yeah, chasing down people, just like, super hungry for tackles, for cheap marks. I think he got a couple goals as well. Yeah, he definitely looks like he's over that injury now. So, and I'm pretty sure he's down like over 100K. He will come up a bit, but I think he's still going to be at a really nice price point to jump on.
About 900.
Yeah,
something like that.
So the only thing I'd kind of be concerned about with him is they don't have the easiest kind of draw coming up. I think Sydney and Geelong in the next 2, which is probably not really ideal. So one thing.
I was just about to flag that to you as a guy looking at him. Are you looking at bringing him in this week, or is he a guy that you'd be maybe bringing in after his bye, because as you mentioned, Sydney, they've got Rowbottom and Ryan Clark who can do jobs, and then even Geelong have got O'Connor and Atkins who can do jobs. So are you maybe steering clear, or is he still a guy regardless you're looking at?
Yeah, regardless, I'm still going to look at him. I think like the whole tagging thing. It's like people think players are going to get tagged. Like I've been thinking Dawson's going to get tagged 2 weeks, and it doesn't happen. I think the tagging thing sometimes is like a little bit overplayed. It's definitely still something to consider, but it hasn't been as relevant this year, I don't think, compared to previous years. So yeah, it's definitely someone I'm strongly considering.
Yeah, definitely. Quickly go through the other players here. Hayden Young, 102. As we mentioned before, the Ball Boys be pretty happy with their boy. And also Mitch also brought in Brayshaw this week, so he'd be very, very happy with that. Better than my trade in, that's for sure. Will Day, 85, bit quieter in this game, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He just didn't have the marks and tackles. Sarong, 97. I think from what people said, I believe he got tagged. Was that right, guys? Did he get tagged in this game, or?
It seemed like he was copying a little bit of attention, but it didn't really seem like a hard tag to me. I don't know what the other guys thought.
Yeah, from what I saw, I didn't really notice anything. I think Brayshaw was just dominating, and Sarong was just getting the ball where he could.
Yeah. And then Warple, 78. Potentially coaches it's getting to a point you could look. He's been really good last few weeks, but he's at a nice price that it only couldn't go cost you a couple $100K to get up to an Andrew Brayshaw. So something for coaches to look at there. Sean Darcy, a bit disappointing as an owner of him and not English. Cost me 75 points this week, and everyone else has got him instead of English. So not great there. So and Seamus Mitchell, 54, solid enough. Weddle, 46. So Tim, we'll move to the Sunday games.
Awesome. So just a reminder before we get into the Sunday games, if there's a player that you want discussed, tweet it in the spaces below, and or if you're watching us on YouTube, tweet or put a question in, and we'll make sure if we haven't covered him, we'll cover him off. But yeah, let's move on to Port Adelaide versus Essendon at Adelaide Oval. So any coaches that had Ridley saw him, I think was concerns about a broken jaw, was a bit worried, but I think he was on 97 when he went off, but he came back on and continued scoring, so hopefully he's all right. I think most relevant players did what we expect in this game, but there probably was some eyes on Stringer in his mid-roll, and Setterfield we saw, has definitely moved out to that wing role.
Yeah, exactly right. So actually I'll throw to Jesse, I think it was, that was talking about, was it Jesse or James that was talking about Setterfield? I can't actually remember. Do you both have Setterfield?
Yeah,
I've got him.
Okay, well, actually, I'll throw it to both of you then, and either one can go first. You talking about the role changes here, both on your trade-out targets this week?
Yeah, he is for me. He's just on that wing. You're going to get less tackles. I think that's going to definitely impact his scoring. So it's definitely someone I'm looking to move out.
Yep, James, what are your thoughts with Setterfield? Is he another guy you're looking to on the chopping block?
Yeah, he is. I've got to make the decision between him and Rivers, and I'm thinking, if there's a way I could do both, like a little cheeky play there, I'm not sure yet, but maybe, a rookie down and Setterfield up. Maybe Setterfield up because he's got a little bit more cash and I can get up to a better player. So probably, yep.
Yep. Also, just quickly mention, I got 4 points added for Jack Steele. So we'll talk about him, but got 23.74. So pretty happy with those 4 points. Moved up about 100 spots, which is nice. Now, so Connor Rozee, 96. He was good enough again. A lot of handballs there, which is normally predominantly a kicker. So I'm sure he'll have high scores there, but still 96. You'll definitely take that. Butters, 111. With that knee sort of injury, came back on, looked okay, so I'm sure he's fine. The two Essendon Bombers star midfielders, Merritt 120 and Parrish 117. They'll be potentially guys that coaches look towards, with Merritt being probably the preferred option for coaches. Now, Tim, I mentioned on the Ball Boys pod, I didn't actually get on because I think there was a few technical difficulties on the stream, but I mentioned Dylan Williams was an option for coaches to look at, a little bit more expensive at 305. So scored 67 last week against St Kilda, and now he's backed up with a 92 against Essendon. he's going to be a bit more expensive, obviously, but with cash gen so hard to come by, and he looks to be in a good role, good scoring. Is he a guy that coaches could pay up for, or are you still thinking he's probably too expensive to really look at and you'd be looking elsewhere?
Look, I think generally speaking, you're going to be looking elsewhere just because of his price. I mean, I think he's probably going to be 350, 360 or something along those lines. I mean, although we are considering someone like Atkins, I'm concerned he's expensive, but I think it depends on what you can do on the other end of the trade. If you can get down to him and still get someone else up to someone who's you want to, then yeah, okay, you could do it. But I think the cash is going to be a little bit tough.
Yeah. Do you boys have any other takes on Dylan Williams at all, or are you guys think he's too expensive? Or
I'd 1,000,000% be looking elsewhere. I think that's how I play the game. I wouldn't be bringing in a rookie at that price now because he jumps up to 350. You could save 150K, and even if he outperforms, someone else on the other end this week, to win that trade, he's really got to be doing, 70 plus for 3 or 4 weeks, which, I don't back any rookie to do that unless they're, Will Ashcroft or someone like that. So I wouldn't do it, but that's me.
Yeah. Jesse, any differing opinions, or are you agreeing with James there?
No, I agree with the boys. But I will say that I did watch that game, and it definitely looked like they were trying to get the ball in his hands a bit more. He looked like he was kind of playing their man for periods in the third quarter, and racked up a lot of cheap points. But I already brought Atkins in last week. He was, inflated kind of rookie price, and I don't really want to bring in another one because, I think it's probably a good idea to downgrade and free up a lot of that cash so we can get those top end guys in our teams.
Yeah, Jesse, while we're on him, so I mean, some coaches might be looking at maybe like an Atkins or possibly even a Dylan Williams this week. If coaches were throwing those two up, who would you still be looking at Atkins?
Who would I choose out of the two of them?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's pretty. I definitely
neither.
I think the ship's kind of probably sailed with Atkins. Also, just because of his questionable job security now as well. With some players coming back in the VFL and him turning over the ball, you don't want to bring him in for 1 week and then have him drop the next. But yeah, I don't think Dylan Williams is too bad an option. I just think he's a little bit too expensive for what he's probably going to produce.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. He's a guy that I could look at potentially, as I need cash gen, but and I don't have Atkins. Houston 99 as well was good. So he's an option if coaches want to go down the path. I just don't think I could personally ever pick up Houston in my team ever. Just wouldn't work. Horn France as well was good with a 96 if anyone had that. McGrath 75. So for coaches like myself, and I know that Nathan from that chat moved off McGrath as well. Good that he didn't punish us with 100 like I thought he might have, but he's just that 70 to 80s guy. So good to move off him. And we already talked about Setterfield before. So and then Alan David Jr. was a bit quiet with 34. I think you can move him to another rookie if you can do something on the other end. And Ridley as well, you mentioned before, Tim, with that injury. So he is probably going to be out this week. So I'll move to the other game.
Yeah, so this is the game that I didn't get to watch today, the Collingwood versus Sydney game. Looked like it was pretty close towards the end, and then Collingwood just ran over the top of them. But obviously, Goulden had a monster, the monster similar to what he had in the preseason, the reason I picked him for. And I'm guessing that Dacos finally copped a real tag from Ryan Clark. And what about, I think there's also be some questions about Mills. Did he have that midfield role?
So just having a look here at his CBAs. So Mills was actually the third most CBAs for Sydney, behind Parker, Warner, and then he was next with 12. So what's that? There was 21 CBAs, so 12, so over 50%. So that's probably what coaches were hoping to see, a little bit of an uptick, which was good to see. But I was a bit the same. I didn't watch this game, so either James or Jess, I don't know if you got which one of you guys watched the game, so either one can chime in. But is Mills an option for coaches to look at that's a bit cheaper?
Yeah, he's definitely an option. I think, he had like 50% CBAs. He's come down a lot in price. The only question mark with him is, again, he's someone that's so kind of flexible in his role, and if Sydney kind of need to hold on to a game, he can, be put behind the ball, or if they lose Fox or the other key defender, McCartan, then he's someone that can potentially go and fill a role in down there again. So he does have risk attached to him. He's probably not one I'd bring in right now for me. But I'll just say as well, I just saw Goulden have that 161 with 0 CBAs, which makes his score even more impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive. I didn't catch this guy. I just saw his score keep going up. So, yeah, very, very impressive with Goulden, 160. The preseason Goulden showed up, so it was good to see him with a huge score. Luke Parker, James, is he potentially an option? He's down at 741K with a 117 backing up from his, I believe it was 112 last week when coaches are looking for a bit of value.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting one because he is so cheap, and he can do the 100 to 105 mark for a sustained period. So if we're getting him for that 750 or 760 odd price, he's well and truly underneath what he has potential to do. The Swans are a little bit of a concern for me because they do swing around. I mean, I know Parker's got the role inside. He's probably number one in there with Warner. So he's not really too much of a concern. But just their scoring as a team feels down. Like, I don't know the numbers, but just looking from afar, like it doesn't seem where it needs to be for to pick that type of player.
Yeah. Lloyd 108 was good for his owners that wouldn't be owned by very many. So good score for those owners there. Warner with a 99. And then Collingwood's top score was 92, which is Scott Pendlebury. So really low scoring for them, but pretty good that Nick Dacos got to an 84, had a good last quarter. I think the top tag may have been dropped in the last quarter because he seemed to have a good last quarter. So he was good enough with an 84. Scrolling down the page here still, I think that's almost about it. Yeah, DeGoey quite with a 60. I know Laddam's copped an injury, 51% game time, so it'll be interesting to see if he plays. Could be good for Sean Darcy next week, maybe. So we'll have to see. So, Tim, we'll move on to the final game.
Yeah, so some obviously North versus Saints at Marvel. Some interesting scoring from Saints. I mean, obviously Marshall got a bit injured there. We'll have to see what happens with that. But a lot of those, popular Saints players, Steele, Crouch, Sinclair, were all pretty disappointing. I mean, Liam Stocker went big, but big story is probably good old Jack Zeeble and. What was he on? 104 at the halftime mark, and what is it?
Yeah.
The fastest fantasy ton in history.
Wow, yeah.
Really?
So that's not a surprise when it comes.
According to
Jaden
Popowski, for those of you that don't follow him, I saw his tweet. Yeah, fastest start. I think it was the 14th minute of the second quarter.
Wow, 36 disposals, 18 marks, 168 points. I think for non-owners, I think we can probably all agree it's too late for him. He's going to be over 800K this week, so I would imagine more around that. But good for owners that have got him. Actually, who's got Zeeble here? So, Tim, I think you've got Zeeble.
Yeah, baby.
Yep.
Yeah,
James?
No, I don't. And it actually really fucking pissed me off. Sorry for swearing. Because I was looking in one of my matchups late this afternoon, and I think I was 141 points clear, and Zeeble was the only other blokes unique. And I'm
chased you
sweet,
down from 140 points.
Unbelievable, really. But
that's funny. Unlucky there, James, mate. And then Jesse, do you have Zeeble in your side?
Yeah, I do. Thank God I do.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's definitely one that was a good thing for you to hold on to your top spot, mate. So good.
Well, thank God Hall went out of the side,
Yeah, exactly right. The one guy I'm not happy with, because he didn't do anything like this for me, is Liam Stocker, 127.
Yeah.
So for those owners, they're going to get some really nice cash gen now. Good matchup obviously helps with that, but you're not bringing him in or anything like that. There will be people still bringing him in, but I wouldn't be bringing him in. 16 marks did play into that there. The Cheese, Harry Sheasel, 98, continued his good form. Good matchup, but Zeeble did steal all the points today, so that's probably why he didn't quite have that 120 that he normally Jack Steele, at least he got added a tackle, so he got to 85. So at least he saved his score. But maybe I'll put that down. Are we putting that maybe down to the way the game was played with North Melbourne chipping it round, like Brad Crouch got 83s? Are we all putting it down to that, and Steele's still not a bad option?
I'm not. Yeah, I would like to see probably another game from him, to be honest. I wasn't that convinced by the way I saw him kind of running around out there. I don't know how good he looked.
Yeah, I think there's other players at that price point or even below that I would prefer.
Yeah, I agree with the boys.
Good to have been. Yeah, it would have been good if someone could have mentioned me that before I brought him in. So, that's just me being a crap coach. Who would have thought Steele would only outscore McGrath by 10 points? That's ridiculous. Crouch 83 is what we said. Marshall, again, we don't really know. Ankle injury didn't look great from what I saw, so maybe he's out. So just keep an eye on that. If he is out for obviously more than a week, I think he will be a trade for coaches, especially. Well, no, I think he will be a coach anyway because he's in that right lineup thinking about it. So, Jack Sinko bit quite 79 there. I think he's still not a bad option to look at. LDU.
Let's talk about actually, let's talk about LDU. But
I was going to say LDU.
Drury is who I want to talk about because I think he might be the rookie that a lot of people are looking to bring in this week.
Bo Drury, I don't think he's an AFL player, mate. I think his brother Blake Drury's the
okay.
But yes, we'll talk about Blake Drury first. I'm assuming that he will probably be around that 225, 230 mark.
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
like that.
so is he probably the downgrade option for coaches to look at, Tim? Because I think that from what I saw, he looked pretty good, especially in the first quarter.
Yeah, he had a great first half. I think he had 35 points in the first half, but then, kind of faded late in the game. I mean, that third quarter only had 6 points. But I think he looked pretty well. I mean, the thing I remember is from our rookie experts, I mean, you remember Jeppa being on the pod in the preseason. North Melbourne rated him pretty highly, and he looked like he was going to be in the starting side until he got an injury. So I think his job security is probably pretty good. He's probably going to get a good, month block or something along those lines. He seemed to score all right. Like I said, faded a bit, but I think he'll be probably the rookie that's most brought in this week.
Yeah, from watching that game, he actually reminded me a bit of Kade Chandler, pushing pretty high up the ground, getting involved in chains. So it wasn't a deep forward pocket role, which is good. So I think he's definitely a very good option to bring in. And moving to your boy LDU, Tim.
So I'm glad I didn't hold him. We talked on Friday about I kind of wish I held him, but I'm now glad I didn't hold him. But
69, not great score.
Yeah, I imagine he's not right still. I can't imagine you have a bruised, heel pad or whatever it is, and it fixes itself after 1 week.
Not a great score. Miller Burton returned for 57, so coaches have got him good cash gen. So very happy with that. Philippou getting a 66 is pretty good for coaches that did hold. Maybe gets a little bit more cash on his head there. Jay Gresham got subbed out with an injury as well. So that maybe could be a good thing for those midfielders in Jack Steele and Brad Crouch moving forward. But we'll have to see if anything comes out from that as well. So I believe that is all the players from the games, Tim.
All right, well, let's turn to the AFL Fantasy Content Creators Cup, proudly brought to you by Infinite Wealth, helping you reach financial goals faster, where winning coaches will get $5,000 donated to their favourite charity. Now, also just a reminder that there's something special out there for every coach that's available too, so head across to infinitewealth.com.au/AFL Fantasy to claim your free 5-module online learning program, the Fast Track to Freedom, where you can learn how to pay your mortgage off up to 3 times faster, save thousands on tax every year, and learn how to build your wealth and replace your income. So that's infinitewealth.com.au/AFL Fantasy. So I'm going to run us through the top 8, and I'm still talking overall at the moment. I will give an update. I think now that we're a third of the way through the season, it's probably a good idea to give an update on the league rankings soon, but we'll wait until the end of the round and all the lockouts lifted and all the things have sorted themselves out. But top 8 in terms of overall rankings. So starting off with Louis. So Louis ranked 5,514. Then we've got Nug from Break Even, Junk Time Janitors, who's ranked at 3,731. Up all my words tonight. Destroy has been the big mover of the last few weeks, man. He has had some big weeks these last few weeks, and he's now ranked inside the top 3,000, so 2,830. Then we've got Miller Time from Break Even at 2,309. We've got Richmond from the Ball Boys, 2,128. He's ranked fourth. Sanch from Hat Chat has moved into third at 1,374. And then in second is the Statesman at 977, meaning that number one ranked coach at the moment is moi at 967. So I'm pretty happy with myself.
I think you would be. Good stuff, mate.
No, having a good year so far.
And then also, I believe Mitch actually top scored in the
he did,
Content Creators Cup this week.
24. Let's go back to Mitch. 24.50.
Yeah.
So big score from Mitch. So good on him.
He had a big score, but I just had a look because I was curious. The top score for the round was Whirly Skirlies. So Finn, 26.46.
Oh.
So I'm just having a quick look at like his team wise and like some of these big players that he had. And while my page loads, there we go. So he had the captaincy on Tim English. He had Josh Dunkley there. He had Errol Goulden. He had Jack Zeeble. He had Bontempelli, Tom Green, Andrew Brayshaw, Liam Stocker. So he had all the players that went huge this week. So congrats to Finn on a absolute monster week. So that could be the top score for the year in any round.
All right, well, moving on to, before we get into just discussing a couple of players before we wrap it up for the evening, boys, why don't we kind of go around and have a talk about trades or, obviously they won't be locked in this early in the week, but, who are you thinking about, who are you looking at trading for this week? Jesse, start with you, mate.
Look, probably Setterfield, I'm thinking, unless Marshall's injured or something like that. He looks to be the one that I'll be looking to get rid of. And then, in terms of who I'm looking to bring in, guys like Brayshaw or Doherty, these discounted premiums that, have good upside still. And in terms of my other trade, it'll be probably getting rid of a red dot like Cowan or a fat like Chandler. He only scored 37, so he looks ready to go.
Yeah, pretty cooked. All right, James, what about you, mate?
Pretty similar. I think I'll look to downgrade a fattened cash cow like a Fergus Green or a someone else.
Shittest rookie you can get rid of to get where you need to, basically.
Yeah, and then Setterfield up, I think, is where I'm thinking as well. Not 100% sure what I'm looking at yet, because I brought in Laird this week, and I'm pretty comfortable Laird is actually going to be very, very strong for the rest of the year. He just looks like he's turned the corner.
M1.
Yeah, could be. And I was actually really off Laird to start with. But I think he's looking like it's a little bit colder. He's going to get a few more hugs. I think it'll be good. So I'm not sure. I'll have to look in who I'm actually going to get.
Sure. Bales, what about you, mate?
Looking at this, obviously if Marshall's out, that will make it pretty easy. I'll just probably go a downgrade on the bench, like a potentially Van Ruin because he's out this week. Or even a Alwyn Davey or Cowan down to Drury, and then Marshall up to Speakano. That would be the silver lining if I did get a forced trade. But basing it on Marshall plays, I'm looking at potentially doing a move where I'm going a Davey on the bench down to Drury, and then going a Ruben Jinby up to a Will Power if I can get up to him. And I've also considered maybe going a Chandler down to Drury and then going Jinby up to Jordan Dawson. But that may hamstring me in future weeks, so I'm not sure if I'll do that, but they're the options I'm looking at, mate. What about you?
Yeah, so this would be a good place to probably start discussions on a couple of players, right? So I'll be looking at trading out a rookie, like I said, pretty much what we're talking about before, shittest rookie I can to do what I need to do. But I'm looking at maybe going like a peddler to a, well, I was thinking Atkins until, Jesse was talking about before, maybe it's a bit too late. I mean, obviously, if he's dropped, I won't be choosing him, but I mean, that's pretty much all I'll be able to get to. So, I mean, what do you boys think of doing something like that? If it's just, trading a rookie up to an Atkins, would you be okay with a trade like that?
I'd personally be going down to someone like that's bottom priced, because I think Atkins, he's going to go up quite a lot as well. He's probably going to be over 400k now. And like I said, if you do bring him in and he only lasts 1 week or whatever, and he gets dropped, then it's just you're locking yourself in for 2 quick trades there.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'm similar there. I'd try and still do a 1 up, 1 down rather than that mid price they're in.
I agree.
But you've got to make these moves if you want to get into the top 100, Tim, and you're in striking distance. So back yourself in.
Yeah, well, plenty of research to do this week. Another player that I reckon, if coaches haven't already brought him in, we've kind of talked or touched about Fiorini. I mean, the only thing I kind of wanted to add, that what I did notice when I watched this game was a little bit like what Pete was talking about on +6 last week. Like, even though he was playing that wing or slightly forward role, he was definitely coming up to the stoppage. So I'm not that worried about someone like a Braden Fiorini. I think he's a trade-in. I think he can sustain those sort of scores, being up around the ball, and maybe even go triple figures like he's done before. But what do you boys think about that? If people are thinking about trading in a Fiorini this week,
I don't mind Fiorini. I think he's got a soft matchup as well against the Eagles this week. So yeah, he's probably hopefully can have another good game. I think he's maybe you can jump on him now, but then after that it'd probably be too late.
Yeah, great, Bales. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I think Fiorini, you can get him this week. This is probably the last week to get him. He'll still be around that 600 odd K mark. Still can make a quick 100K. Even if I still don't think he has to be a hold to the buys. If I know Tim, for example, I know you haven't got a lot of rookies on field now, which is great. And some people might not have rookies. If he's your worst player in a fortnight, he can still go out. So I don't think the having to hold him past the buys is necessarily a thing. But
yep.
I think, as you said, he looked to be going up to stoppages as that fourth midfielder. So and I think he was more influential there than like an Alex Davies. So the hope is maybe he gets those CBAs instead. But Flanders' first game back could maybe go inside and get more CBAs. So I still think Fiorini's not a bad option.
All right. Well, also circling back to Rochelle, there's a couple of questions about Rochelle as well. I mean, one of the things that I'm not sure if what I'm saying is right, but I'm wondering whether, and it looked like after halftime last week, Rochelle got moved out of the CBAs. And I actually wonder whether he's having a little bit of a sad, because he doesn't, he's kind of doing a little bit of the McRae, dropping his head, doesn't kind of look like he wants to get involved as much. I mean, his CBAs were reduced this week as well, but, I'm not the Crows guy. So, I want to kind of throw it back to you, Bales, and over to the boys. What do you boys think about that?
Sorry, Bales, I'd quickly just say,
yep,
I thought I read somewhere or heard something that he's under a bit of an injury cloud. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
Maybe that's why they took him out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Sorry, Jesse, go.
I was just going to say that I understand the CBA drop off last week because Keys was tagging Dacos and Collingwood were kind of trying to throw Dacos through the middle to break the tag, but Keys was just still running with him. But this week, like you said, he only had 5 CBAs this week, so that's I mean, I don't have him, but if I was an owner, I'd be concerned about that because he's not going to score what you need him to score. 5
without those CBAs, yeah.
I think for me, the one big concern, the reason that he had that drop in CBAs was Matt Crouch was subbed on in the second half, and that's really when his CBAs dropped. So if Matt Crouch was to be in the team next week, so he actually played pretty well and had an impact coming on. He did have actually negative 16 metres gain, so maybe not. But if he's in the side, then that would be a bit of a concern because if not, I think he's a whole different crack to the main team. So I still think he's going to be in the CBAs. And I did see a bad take on the weekend. I can't remember who. Well, I won't name drop, so I don't want to sort of give him too much crap. But someone suggested on Twitter that he should be dropped to the sandful to get some form back, which I thought was a bit of a bad take.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah.
That's quite funny.
Who was it, Bals? Just say it.
Nah.
Nah, I won't worry about it. I'll anonymous person.
Well, and look, for probably final player we'll talk about, but it looks like we're all jumping off at the moment or getting close to jumping off. Is Will Setterfield with I think he had 0 CBAs for his game, but we know that he's kind of what we saw and talked about him out on that wing role. So everyone's off him at the moment. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, he can go.
Yeah. Bales,
Yep,
any YouTube
agreed.
question? Yeah, sorry, mate. Any YouTube questions you want to go through before we wrap up?
All right, we've gone. I think it's a good time probably to wrap it up. Oh, I can answer those questions for those people over there. After we've got 50 people tuning in over there, so appreciate those people and all the people tuning in on the Twitter space as always.
Yeah, awesome. Well, gentlemen, thanks for coming on tonight. Jesse, we'll start with you, mate. Good job, ranked 1, and best of luck for the rest of the season, mate. Where can people find you? Tell us your Twitter handle, mate, so people can follow along.
Yeah, it's just Jesse_Way. That's my Twitter handle. And yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Mate, welcome, and love your analysis. Thanks for your input tonight.
No
And like I said, best of luck. And then, of course, James Shuckas, mate. Where can people find you?
At Shuckas Fantasy.
Mate, we always love having you on the show. And just for everyone else out there, thanks for joining us. And in particular, thanks to those people that sent in players. Mate, you can get your questions sent in at any time during the week. Follow us on Twitter at AFL Fantasy Fans. And don't forget to tune in each week after the final siren of the round for a live Twitter space. And also remember, you can listen to these spaces on the AFL Fantasy Fanatics podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. So please subscribe to the pod and give us a 5-star review. Bales, mate, where can people find you?
At Bales DT and YouTube, as always, at trulybailshd. And lockouts lifted, so we can make our age trades as soon as you jump off of here.
No, that's exactly what I'll be doing. For everyone else, you can follow me at TimGuestAU. Hope everyone else has a great week. And we'll, for anyone that wants to join us in our pre-lockout chat, normally, what is it? Normally about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, something like that. Well, that's 4 o'clock Western Standard, I should say.
Yeah, about 6:15, 6:20 Eastern's normally around the time we go live there. So tune into that as well.
Yeah, if not, we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys.
See ya.
Boys.
See ya.
Awesome. Thanks, boys.
Perfect. Thanks, boys, for jumping on.
No worries.
Great job. Yeah, great job. Loved everything you guys had to say and everything you guys had to offer. It was awesome.
No, all good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Great to have you back on, Shuckers and Jesse, mate. We'll get you back on, see how you go over the next few weeks, mate.
Yeah.
Quit my job and come do that shit for a living.
Pretty
Yeah, how'd you
frustrating.
go over the weekend?
Yeah, it was looking pretty good. Like this weekend, and I was in this ticket comp. Giving out 215 tickets, which each ticket kind of gets you one entry into the competition. So you build a team with one of those tickets, and yeah, I was looking really good. I was looking like I was going to get one. I just needed Gresham to get like 25 points in the second half, and he got 0 in the third quarter because he hurt his calf, and then he got stubbed off. So that was like that's like cost me like a $3,500 ticket, but that's just the variance involved, so that's fine.
That's the game, mate. That's the game.
Yeah, goes around, comes around, you know.
All right. Exactly, man. Exactly. And look, make sure anytime you want to come down to one of us, and like I said, unless there's pretty much a Freo or West Coast game on Friday night.
There we go. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know if my voice is coming through. Should be. Yeah, it's just not coming through my headphones. So thanks for tuning in as always. Get into some of these questions that we've got lying here in the live chat. So we've got Andrew Griffiths. Hey, legends, I'm back. 2488 up to 609. Another huge round. Yeah, mate, good stuff. Nearly 2,500. So huge week for you there. So actually just adjust the camera. There we go. Oh, hang on. There we go. There's bed in there. JS, I got 2318 this week, which was just above average, I think. Good news, I have 600k in the bank, and Chandler will be Anderson, and either Liam Jones or Hollands will be upgraded. So, yeah, I don't mind those plays. Obviously, Anderson, great for buys, which will be good as well. It looks like I am coming through, so not on mute, which is nice. Andrew Griffiths says, Anderson owner, damn, he's so good. Gone to new level without Took. Yeah, I agree. He's been very, very good. So definitely a guy that we can consider on that good buy as well. There we go. It's better. JS, wish I went a week earlier on Anderson, but I think he'll still be a good pickup. Yeah, I think so. Brendan McKay, g'day, Bales. Brendan, mate, hope you're doing well. You'll be enjoying that English captain, mate, from we talked about that last night on the watch along. So good to get some legends on that. So if you want to tune into those watch alongs, every Saturday night for the Saturday night game, we go live and watch the game together and watch the fantasy scores tick over. So last couple we've had. Last week we had the Marshall 159. This week we had the Tom Green 170. So who's it going to be next week? Brendan McKay, must have English. Yeah, I think he's a must have, I think. What do you got here? Brendan McKay, 2370 this week, up 5k. So yeah, I only just pipped you, Brendan, but yeah, both good weeks for us, but good week once again. Damien Martin, you know it's a high-scoring week when you score 23 and overall rank goes backwards. Yes, I know. I could definitely feel that. I'm glad that I've been able to move up, but yeah, I can. A lot of coaches have scored 2200s and dropped, which is, yeah, it's crazy to think that the last 2 weeks have been big. So could it be a trend? If this next week is big, then it could be a trend that we're going to get these high scores potentially coming a lot more in the future. Jaden Ellis, I brought Steele in too. Should have went someone else. Yes, I know. Agreed. He got the tackle out to 85 because he was on 32 at halftime. It wasn't his game, so I'm annoyed. I could have got Brayshaw, could have got Mills, could have got Dawson, but it's okay. I think he'll be fine moving forward. Brendan McKay had Steele in, then went Walsh. Yeah, well, that's good. Obviously, Walsh got his 100, so you'd be pretty happy with that. Brendan also says +3 to the Z Bull. Yes, very, very big he was. Underscores scored exactly 2,500, round rank of 320, went from 2070 overall to 750. Good jump up. So you're in top 1,000, closing in on the top 500, mate. So good work there. You had the VC on Taranto. Also had Dunkley, Green, Zeeble, Goulden, and English. Yes, obviously that contributes to a big week. That's for sure. Hang on. Still got a bit of a just tickly cough. It's really annoying. It's really doing my head in. Hopefully it goes soon. Connor Johns. Neil is almost in the 700s, so would it be better to hold because he's so cheap? Just wondering because isn't this the price people would start considering him because he's so cheap? Yeah, Neil's a tough one. He's just been literally up and down. So I wouldn't trade him this week because based on his last 6 weeks, he literally goes 100, 70, 170. So he got a 67 this week, so it means he's going to go 100 this week. So Essendon, the Gabba, he normally's got a very good history against them. Caldwell tagged him last year and kept him to a bad score. So does that happen again? Maybe. So you could hold for another week. If he's your worst issue, though, I still would be happy to trade him if your rookies are fine. You don't need to touch them. Underscores, yeah, Neil has a good fixture and fairly good buy, better options. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking at bringing him in, but you could hold, but you could also trade. So it's a tough one. Connor Johns, hold Neil and get McKenna. Rivers or Callahan up. Yeah, I would trade Rivers or McKenna instead, Connor or Callahan. One of the three, whichever works better for your buy. She got McKenna round 12, Rivers round 14, and Callahan round 15. So whichever one helps your team better, I'd trade them before Neil, I think, at this point. But yeah, just frustrating. Porter Dennis, 25-29 this week. Huge week, Porter. Great. Good stuff. Clancy Walsh, best options to get in this week. Well, we pretty much went through all the options I guess you can get in. So Clancy, that will probably be the best ones there. But yeah, there's a lot of good options this week. So it's a bit hard to sort of say which ones. If you gave me a couple, I could probably say who to get. Archie Noyce says, can anyone tell me how to trade players to a different position, ED trading forward to a mid? So your utility, Archie, if you've got if you want to go a forward to a mid, if you've got a mid forward on your forward bench. You put them into your utility spot, and then you can swap them around and do it that way. That's probably the best way to do it. Unless you've got a mid forward in your midfield, you can then swap them forward and then get in midfield. That's the best way to do that. Jane Ellis, for coaches holding Wilmot, should they be looking at Atkins still? I'm nervous. If he holds his spot, you could. I still don't think it's a bad play. I just think that he is on the outskirts of the team. He could be dropped at any point. So I'm a little bit worried about him potentially being dropped. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Could go for other options potentially. So yeah, we'll see if he holds his spot. If he holds his spot, could definitely be an option still that coach can consider. Clancy Walsh's merit option, only gone under 100 once this whole season. Yeah, and that was just a really poor game from him, actually. So, yeah, he's an option. Round 14 bye could be really handy for coaches. A lot of coaches haven't got a lot of premiums on that round 14 bye. So, yeah, definitely an option that coaches can look at a little bit as a bit of a pod option. Jack Mulder, 24.93, taking Toronto's 117 VC score. Mate, huge week without the Dunkley or Green or anyone like that as a VC. 6 players over 150. That does help. Very big week for a lot of players. So overall ranked, gone from 18K to 9K. So yeah, that's exactly, that just shows how your rank can change in a week. You just need a few things to go your way and you've jumped up. So I'm just actually having a look. So I'm just seeing how many players I had go over 150. So Lockett has been lifted for coaches that want to have a look. So I had 1, 2, 3. I had 4 players, 3 forwards over 150. I also had Bont and Whitfield go over 129. So, yeah, good week for me and a lot of coaches. Smixy says Butter's an option. He's an option. Good week this week. So let's see if this knee injury isn't a concern. Obviously went off, came back and finished the game, so it shouldn't be. But just have a look at that. He's cheap enough that you could still look at him. But, yeah, that's his one big score. Oh, he had the good score against the Dogs. He got a couple of 80. So he's not must-have, but he is potentially a good option. Sim says bench only for Drury. I think so. With North Melbourne team that sort of didn't know where that came from. Rebuilding. I wouldn't play Drury on fielder. He's just a bench option to make some cash and hopefully be there through the buys because he's got around 15 buy, which could be a good thing. You can maybe move him on at his buy. The TC channel, when's Lockout being lifted? It's just been lifted, mate. So I know you said that about 10 or so minutes ago, but yeah, it's been lifted so you can go and make your trades now. Connor Johns have 160K and I've got McKenna, Callahan, Rivers, Neal, Warple, Pedler and Nick Murray on my bench. Which post should I trade out this week and what post should I bring in? So I don't actually know what Nick Murray's price is. I'm surprised that he's actually not a lot of people got him. So Nick Murray is priced he got injured as well, priced at 345. To be honest, he's probably a guy you just probably hold on to. He's too cheap that you don't trade him out. He's in the team he's playing. So unless he's injured, then you probably, and he's not enough to go up. So I'd probably go a McKenna out. He's got the round 12 bye personally, but you could go Rivers or someone else. But yeah, would probably be McKenna up to someone you can get. Will Power, I like as an option. So Corey Blackledge, what do I do with Rivers, Chandler, Darcy and Marshall as I got 22.36 and went down 2K spots overall? Darcy, I think, stays, especially with Marshall potentially going down. If Marshall's injured, he's obviously a must trade, regardless if he's out for a week, because we know we got no bench cover on the rucks or at least any good bench cover. Everyone's got, if you got Samson Ryan, you can have a look at him. He's got the first game. So you can have a look if he went 80 or whatever, you could keep him, or 70 plus. But more likely you're going to be trading Marshall, and you're probably going to be going to one of two options, I think. English if you don't have him, or which I don't think you do because you said you got Darcy and Marshall, or if you want to go cheaper, maybe Max Gorn because you'll probably get forward status, so you could get him, get English later. But yeah, English is the guy you probably get. And yeah, if Marshall's all good though, it's probably, yeah, you could go Chandler down potentially, Corey, if you've got a Hollands or Pedler on your bench, and then go Rivers up to a premium. That would be what I'd look at. DJ Brack, Green went up 65K, really? Wow. So he's going to be 962K. Could hit $1 million. I wonder what his break even is. So Tom Green's break even is 64. So unless he has a stinker, he'll be very close, if not over $1 million next week, which is crazy. I didn't think he'd be doing that. JS Timmy T, almost $1 million now as well. Yeah, so he's very close with a 117. 997. Yeah, break even 110. So if he goes 115, probably or more, he's going to hit that $1 million. I hope he does. I really do hope he does. TC Channel, Akers and Chera an option. Akers, no, just the role is a wing role. With a midfielder, you want to be bringing them in as inside mids. And Akers is 843, too expensive. He's been good last 3 weeks especially, but I wouldn't be looking at him. Chera, what's his price? Because obviously these prices have changed now because Lockat's been lifted. So Chera, 870, break even of 56. I don't think so. He's too expensive for me. He had CBAs, but I don't see it being consistent with him. He could drop a poor score next week. He's been good, but I think the boat's almost sailed with him. I'm looking at his CBAs. He had 15. He had more than Walsh. So it could be an option. Hewitt and Cripps were the best two, and he had a kick out as well. So he has got a decent role, but I think he's too expensive. But if you're keen on TC, then you could potentially look at him. Corey Blackledge, Noble did all right for me this week, which I'm happy about. Yeah, you'd be happy with Noble. I think he, what did he end up getting? So we didn't cover him. John Noble got a 80. So, yeah, been solid if you picked him up. So, yeah, been good. Only one poor score, under 77 this year. So, yeah, if you got him, you'd be riding his price rises. So, good work for that there, Corey. Rhett Weeks, well done to everyone who had the 150s. I had only two with a 21.54. Yeah, unfortunately. Hopefully for you, Rhett, you get those 150s or big scores next week and make up a bit of ground there. But, yeah, unfortunate. Paulie D, loud and clear. Good. Okay, good that people can hear me. JS, Anderson and Fiorini in for Chandler and Philippou for me. So, yeah, you'd have a bit of cash in the bank, JS, there. So, yeah, I don't mind. It helps with buys. If you're happy to pay up for JS, pay up for JS. Jace, if you're happy to pay up for Anderson, I think you can still do that. He's expensive, though. He is priced at... He'd be one of the more expensive players in the game, I think, now. Yeah, up at 951k, break even of 91. So, yeah, he's not going to go down as much. Up as much. He's probably at his almost peak. But, yeah, good option, potentially. Could it really, really be a point of difference through those buys. Corey Blackledge, no Zeeble English this week, and Sheasel captain cost me over Goulden. Yeah, unfortunate. I thought Sheasel was going to be bigger than that, but still got a 90-something. It just obviously hurts when people had Tom Green, Tim English, Josh Dunkley captain this week, and you're missing out on those points. Ben Tass says, Steele, a keep, looked terrible. I think he is. He had a poor game. He didn't look great. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll bounce back and still be fine. So I'd be keeping. I turned it off actually because I didn't want to watch him anymore. But if it wasn't for that one call, though, he would have had a really poor score. But 85, if that's his worst game for the year, which I think it potentially could be, he might have been sick. We don't know. No idea. But yeah, I'd be keeping him till his bye. And if he has a few poor scores, you can trade him in his bye. Worst case, I think, even though he will drop cash. But yeah, I would be trading. James Crabb 99. Which rookie is best to trade out this week with Philippou, Ginby, or Wilmot? Was going to do one of them and Phillips to Drury and Fiorini. Yeah, Phillips to Drury is great. I'd probably be going Wilmot up to Fiorini. I think that Ginby and Philippou got better roles and could be staying in the team longer term. So I would probably go Wilmot first. It depends on buys. So Philippou's got round 15. So round 12, Ginby's got round 14, and Wilmot has got round 12. So I think it's Wilmot for me. He's got the earlier buy. I think you hold on to Ginby over him. Andrew Greaves, need 200k rooks to already got Drury and trying to get Pooh up to Fiorini. Potentially could be Josh Fahey. We'll have to see. If Angwin is injured, could come into the side this week. We've got 61 people watching. Appreciate everyone tuning in. I will probably say at this point, because we've got so many people watching, if you haven't subscribed, bottom right-hand corner, we'd appreciate all the support. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers now. We hit 1,000. Appreciate everyone subscribing. It takes 2 clicks. And if you don't want to watch another video or anything from me, then that's perfectly fine. Just if you could help out, that'd be very much appreciated. We'll go for a few more minutes here with these last few bits of chat. But yeah, I'll have to see about Faye if he comes in. JS, bringing Anderson in gives me a nice VC option. Yeah, it's another good option as well because he's probably one of the best, if not the best VC option this week. Tom Stewart, maybe another one against Richmond could be big. But yeah, another good point there, JS. Liam Smith, thoughts on Setterfield and Wilmot to Anderson and Drury. Yep, tick it off, especially if Wilmot's on your bench, though. If Wilmot's on your bench to Drury on your bench, I'd do it. If not, I wouldn't do it. I'd try and get Wilmot to someone else on your field. But if he's on your bench, I like those trades, Liam. So tick, tick. Connor Johns, Rivers up to Brayshaw or McKenna up to Stewart? I'd be McKenna up to Stewart for me. I'm not, unless you're talking about Andrew Brayshaw. If you're talking about Andrew Brayshaw, that's more of a question. It'll depend on your buys. I still like Stewart's buy around 13. Can be really helpful if you've got players on that buy. So I think it's still Stewart for me for the there, but he's not as much value as what he was. So maybe you do go and get Andrew Brayshaw. If it's Gus Brayshaw, it's not a question. It is definitely Tom Stewart. Harry Thomas is Fergus Green to Taranto and Drury to Caminiti. Good trades. 100%. If you can go Fergus Green all the way up to Taranto and then Drury to Caminiti down to Drury, yeah, definitely good trades. Yeah, lock him in. Harry Thomas, Toby Green's in my team. Do you know how long he's out for? I'm not sure. I don't know exactly why he was out. So maybe good to see if you can maybe check that and see if that, but you have to see. I'm not exactly sure because I only saw that really late and then the watch long, so I sort of lost track with that. Simon Stacks, what happened to Marshall? Ankle injury, twist his ankle landing. So I'm not sure if we're going to have to see for scans. It could be out. It could be something that we have to do and trade. For me, as a non-English owner, it makes it easy. English will just come in for me this week. I hope that he's not injured because I'd like to get Will Powell in my side, but we'll have to see what the prognosis is of Marshall, but it could be a trade. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Smixy just got here. Who's a good option? If you can listen back to the whole video if you want, the first sort of hour when we talked about all the players who went through all the games with James Shuckas, who finished second overall last year, and then also Jesse Way, who's currently the top-ranked coach overall. So good guys to get some advice from. So I'd recommend that, Smixy, but there's too many probably to mention here. So, yeah, I'd probably just go back and have a listen or listen to the podcast on AFL Fantasy Fanatics where you get your podcast. The TC channel says, brought in Hunt last week, put Jones on my bench and looking to downgrade for a rookie who will make me cash and upgrade Holland to a primo in my midfield. Just not sure who. I think I might bring in Mills. I don't mind Mills. He had the midfield role. Still a nervous own, obviously. We could know he could just go have a different role. But, yeah, you could definitely do that, going Holland's up to Mills. Mills get a score better than Holland. So, yeah, I'd still tick it off if you could do that. Twipple says, Fiorini's still a decent buy. Need to trade out Setters and Wood. If you go Wood down and Setterfield up, if you've got no other issues, Twipple, then that's definitely an option. Yeah. Fiorini's still an option. It's just the role isn't there. He's playing as that extra midfielder on the wing, but he doesn't have the inside role that, well, obviously where he's going to score huge. So I still think this is the last week to get him, though. So if you want to jump on him, you can. DJ Bakshitas, maybe a 200k option was a sub. I don't think so. I don't think he comes into the 22, so I wouldn't say so. JS, would you go Powell over Fiorini? I think I would. I think I would go Powell over Fiorini. Powell's got a better role. He's locked into the best 22. He's got that round 13 buy, low break even, making cash. So I think I would go Powell over Fiorini there, JS. Smixy Butter's an option. He's an option, just hasn't probably got that consistent 100 to 120 in him. He's probably more that he'll pop up for some hundreds, but you also get a lot of 80s and 90s. So he's underpriced. He's cheap. It depends if it works for your buy structure. He's an option, but I'm not as hot on him as what I was a couple of weeks ago. Tick off Chandler to Drury and Jinby to Green. Can't believe I missed him all year, says Simon Stacks. You could do that. I'm looking. I could do Chandler down to Drury and then go Jinby up to a primo like a Jordan Dawson, who I missed. Tom Green is definitely not value anymore. He's going to be priced around that 113 mark. So I would probably not say to bring him in just because there's no value. I would look at Andrew Brayshaw. Even Callum Mills a lot cheaper. Not as secure, but a lot cheaper could mean you get another upgrade next week. I would have said Jack Steele, but didn't look great. Rory Laird's a great option, I think, as well. Got that Geelong Collingwood games out the way, so got a pretty nice run coming up. So I think Rory Laird probably would be my pick, I think. If you can get Jimmy to Laird, Simon, I'd be doing that. If you got Laird, though, Brayshaw's probably a good pick as well.
So, and depends on your buy structure. Thomas Ventolo, I hope I've said that correctly. Thomas, I apologise if I haven't. Is Sicily a trade? I don't think so. Obviously, he had poor scores, but just as likely this week to go and score a 120. And he's got St Kilda not next week, the week after, I believe. So, could be a big score for him. Melbourne this week. So, yeah, I wouldn't trade him out. But if you've got all your rookies off, I doubt anyone's at that stage yet. But if you did, for example, and Sheasel and Ashcroft, your two worst players, you could look at Sicily out. But I wouldn't trade him out personally. Porter Dennis, Fiorini to Roy Atkins, or go early on Jaden Hunt to bring in Stewart. I wouldn't go Fiorini to Roy Atkins. You could go Hunt to Tom Stewart, potentially. That'll fix buys. You're getting a premium in that's going to stay on your team for the rest of the year. I'd rather do that, but I'm still not sure I'd be getting rid of Hunt at this point. I'd still get rid of your Jinbys, your Pillapus, your Peddlers, your Chandlers. Get those guys off field first, and then maybe you can look at Jaden Hunt out. But he's been good. I wouldn't. Fiorini or Rory Atkins. Okay. If you think between the two, I think it's still Fiorini. I think he's more secure. They've still got not a great job security, the both of them, but Fiorini's probably got the better scoring, so I'd probably go him personally. But yeah. But if it is a rookie, I'd still go. You could go rookie up to Fiorini. I'd rather do that than Hunt to Stewart. JS, I might go Power then. Yeah, Power's a good option. I really do like Power. I would go him over Fiorini, I think. Henry Xenofu says Setterfield and Green to Laird and Drury. Love it. Tick, tick. As I said before to Simon, if you can get Laird this week. Laird's a great target this week. St Kilda, good matchup. Ross could go to him, but I'd still expect Ross to go to Dawson if he's going to tag someone. So I'm not sure. But yeah, tick it off. Laird, great option. Looked a lot better on the weekend as well. 14 tackles. We're getting to that time of the year where Laird's going to really start to get his scores up. Mitchell Gray, would you tick off JVR and Wilmot to a rookie and Fiorini? Yeah, I would. Yep. I'd tick them off. You're getting rid of two rookies that have done their job. And you're probably going to be able to bench a rookie because maybe they're both on your bench, those two guys. So, yep, I'd tick that off. JS either gets a rookie off field. Yeah, that's fine. I'd still go Powell over Ferry if both get a rookie off field. TC Channel is McPherson option. I think he's just too expensive now, to be fair. He's been fantastic. Stato has obviously got him. He's been fantastic. I think Stato brought him at under 600K, and he's done really well ever since. He's got 300s in a row, up to 785. For me, that's too expensive. Again, got a good buy, but I think we've all missed the boat. He's got up 237K, so yeah, I wouldn't be bringing him in. Either Dylan Willis, is Warple a hold? You could trade him if he's your worst player, but he's been good, so not necessarily a trade. So you could hold him, but it is obviously a lot easier to get him to a primo. So it depends what rookies you got. Depends if he's your worst issue. I'm just having a look here at the CBAs. He still had the fourth most, but he had a decent amount with 17. So he's still got the role. So, yeah, I think it's a hold, but if he's your worst player, you could trade. Thomas Ventolo, pick two to bring in Atkins, Power, Fiorini, Drury. I think it's Powell and Drury for me. If you can go a rookie down to Drury and then go another rookie up to Will Power, I'd be doing that 100%. So, yep, Paulie D, 2092 this week. Get around me. Oh, mate, that's normally 2092 is not the worst, but in a week where people were getting 2600, we saw the top score of 2600 and a lot of people 2300. Obviously, that's a poor one, Paulie, mate. So, unfortunate, mate. I'm sure you'll bounce back. James Crab 99. Who would you go? Wilmot to Drury. Oh, would you go? Sorry, Wilmot to Drury and Phillips to Fiorini, or Philippou and Jinby to Powell and Drury? I wouldn't go Philippou and Jinby just to get Powell. I still think Wilmot to Drury, Phillips to Fiorini is a better trade. So I'd still do that. It's if you can afford both with the good trades, I'd go Powell first. Final one here as well. Henry Xenofu got McPherson 3 rounds ago for his 3 tons. By the way, what score did you get and rank? So I scored a 2374. That puts me at a round rank of 5509, and I move up to 6568. So moved up 2,200 spots, which is really good. Really happy with the week. So Mitchell Gray got 2475. Good week for you, mate. Huge score there. And then Smixy says Whitfield an option. I don't think so. I know he had a great score. I own him. It's been a sort of frustrating watch for a couple of weeks, but finally popped a good score. Look back to Whitfield of old. So if you're confident, Smixy, that that's going to be him moving forward, definitely an option. Underpriced based on he's averaged 100 before, but I still don't like the fact that Ash and Cumming are back there. He did play the Bulldogs. Great matchup. I'd want to see another week. If he does it against Collingwood, he's then got St Kilda. So if I was a non-owner, I'd wait one more week, see if he does it again. If he goes big against Collingwood, definitely look at getting him in the week after. But I think he might go back to an 80, still score this week against, or maybe could be less against Collingwood. But if he goes well, definitely an option. Dane Munn got 23.08 and went backwards 500 spots. God love fantasy football. That's exactly right, 100%. But I will cut it there, though. We've been on for about 20 minutes. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We did have a fair few people tuning in after this, which is great. So obviously, I'm always live after the Twitter Space of Tim. So going through questions and whatever you guys got in live chat. So if you are tuning in there, stay around after. If you're tuning in on Twitter Space and you did come over, thanks for that. And also, you could do that in the future as well, because we do answer all the questions. But appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. Bottom right-hand corner. As I said, run our way to a 2,000 subscribers. Oh, hang on. I just thought I got worried for a sec. That said, sent me a message. I'm just having a look here. If anyone subscribed, I want to shout out people if they did subscribe as well. No, I don't think we've got any new ones, or at least no notifications anyway of new subscribers. Doesn't actually say if we got any more. Got a couple. Beautiful. Thank you very much for those two people. Apologies, can't shout you out, but I appreciate that if you did. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe. Like the video if you enjoyed the podcast stream video. I'll be back tomorrow for the day news recaps. Will be back tomorrow. I'll be doing back on those again. My round review will be back tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm not sure. I want to sort of get a sense of if people like it on a Monday or a Tuesday, but probably tomorrow. We'll see though. And we'll be back in the week. But good luck this week. Let me know in the comments below. What your rage trades are, +3, -3, all that. Social media links in the description below. Follow those. And also go and turn notifications on so you miss when I go live or upload content in the future on the channel. So Henry Xenophu, 2368. So good week as well. Very good week. So a lot of good weeks out there. But good luck for the week. Hope you guys have a good week. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. So I'm out. Cheers.